All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to tackle the world of cardio. We're going to use a state-of-the-art lab and some real science to bust the biggest myths you've probably heard about getting your heart rate up.
I mean, think about it. Is running really the best thing you can do? Does sweating more actually mean you're burning more fat? And could just a few seconds of hard work be better than a whole long workout? Well, we're about to find out. So to get to the bottom of this, we recruited a few different people with different fitness levels. We're literally hooking them up to a metabolic cart. This thing is the gold standard for measuring exactly how many calories and how much fat you're burning, to see how these myths hold up when you look at the real data.
Okay, first things first, let's just rethink what an effective cardio workout even is. So many of us have this all or nothing, go hard or go home mindset, but does it really have to be that way?
Let's kick things off with a huge one. Is walking just too easy? Meet Andy. He doesn't get a lot of steps in, and his VO2 max, which is basically a key marker of your fitness that measures how well your body uses oxygen, is below average for his age. He's the perfect candidate to see if a simple walking routine can actually move the needle.
Okay, so here's the plan for Andy. For 2 weeks, he's not just going to wander around. He's following this very specific Japanese walking method. You go brisk for 3 minutes, then easy for 3 minutes, and you just repeat that. Studies have actually shown this exact method can improve your aerobic fitness nearly 10% more than just trying to walk 8,000 steps a day.
Yeah, but let's be real, who always has a solid 30 minutes? That brings us to this really cool idea called exercise snacks. One study looked at this, comparing a normal 40-minute bike ride to doing just 3 30-second all-out stair sprints at different times throughout the day.
And get this, the results are kinda wild. After 6 weeks, the group doing the long bike rides, they saw basically no change in their fitness. But the exercise snack group, with just 90 seconds of total work a day, boosted their VO2 max by 7%. It just goes to show you that intensity can be a massive driver of fitness. If you're pressed for time, these short, sharp efforts can be a total game changer.
Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the thing everyone wants to know about, fat loss. Because honestly, this is where some of the biggest and most stubborn cardio myths live.
You know the feeling, right? You finish a workout, your shirt is completely drenched, and you think, wow, I must have burned a ton of fat. It feels right. So to test this, we brought in Alicia to see if a super sweaty workout really does mean more calories burned.
So, here's what we did. We had Alicia bike for 10 minutes at the exact same pace. The first time, it was in a really cold room. The second time, a really hot one. The only thing we changed was the temperature, specifically to make her sweat a whole lot more in that second test.
And you're probably not going to believe the results. She actually burned more calories in the cold room. Now, why is that? Well, even though the hot room felt way harder, her body was spending so much energy just trying to cool itself down that her performance actually dropped. The sweat was just your body's air conditioning system. It wasn't a sign of a better workout.
And this brings up a really, really important point, and it's the perfect lead into our next big myth, the infamous fat-burning zone.
I'm sure you've seen it on a treadmill, right? The little chart that says fat burning zone. This is usually a lower intensity effort, like a brisk walk. And yeah, on the surface, the science seems to back it up. When I did a zone 2 walk, my body was getting 75% of its fuel from fat. Pretty cool, right? But hold on, that's not the whole story. Because look what happens when I start running hard. My body totally flips the script and starts burning 85% carbohydrates for fuel. So does that mean the slow walk is better for losing fat? Well, no, not really.
So what's the deal? Here's the key thing you have to remember. Your body is smart. It's constantly balancing its books. If you burn more fat during your workout, your body will just burn more carbs the rest of the day, and vice versa. What you burn in that one session doesn't matter nearly as much as your total calorie burn over 24 hours. For actual fat loss, a calorie deficit is king, period. And this is where a lot of us get into trouble. After their workouts, we asked Andy and Alicia to plate up some food that they thought equaled the calories they just burned. They both put over 500 calories of snacks on their plates. The reality, their workouts burned way, way less than that. It's this double whammy. We think we eat less than we do, and we think we burn way more than we do, and that can completely wipe out any progress. Okay, for our final section, let's talk about the big matchup, cardio versus muscle. You hear it all the time, right? Cardio kills your gains. But is that actually true? So how do they stack up for fat loss? Well, minute for minute, cardio is definitely going to burn more calories in that session. But strength training has a secret weapon. It preserves your muscle. And that is absolutely crucial because when you're losing weight, you want to make sure you're losing fat, not the precious muscle that keeps your metabolism fired up. So what's the best way to make them work together? We asked an expert, Dr. Mark Lewis, and his advice was pretty straightforward. If you're doing them on the same day, lift first. If you can, separate them by about 6 hours. But here's the real kicker from him. For most of us, we just aren't doing enough cardio for it to even be a problem. In fact, it's more likely to help our strength, not hurt it.
Okay, it is time for the grand finale. We've talked a lot about myths and theories, but now it's time to see what actually happened with our walking experiment.
So let's remind ourselves of the setup. We had Andy, who started out pretty sedentary with a below-average fitness level. For 2 solid weeks, he did that 30-minute Japanese walking routine every single day.
This is the big question. Can something as simple and accessible as walking actually make a measurable difference in someone's fitness?
And the answer is absolutely yes. His VO2 max score went up by 3.5%. Now, 3.5% might not sound like a huge number, but think about this. After our mid-20s, our fitness naturally declines by about 1% every single year. So in just 2 weeks, Andy didn't just stop that clock. He actually turned it back. That is incredible.
And that right there is the whole point of this explainer. It's not about running versus walking or HIIT versus zone 2. The best exercise doesn't exist. The best exercise is the one that's a good challenge for you right now. And more importantly, it's the one you will actually do week after week. It's all about finding what works for your body and your life. So the real question is, what's that going to be for you?